Please welcome Giovanni Blair Mckenzie.
Thank you. Los Angeles, is it time to become a bit more edgy? No, seriously, are we excited for another edgy conference? I'd like to begin by thanking the EDGY Task Force for making me part of your team, and congratulate the Penny Lane Centers and its executive team for another successful conference. Please join me, again, in applauding the work of Penny Lane Centers, the EDGY Task Force, and our conference chair, Cameron, for another successful 7th-year conference. Personally, I'm honored to be speaking here today because I do not see many young, Black, trans, gender fluid, and immigrant people represented in this country. Our lives matter, don't they? I'm a Black, Hispanic, West Indian, queer, and genderqueer American immigrant from Jamaica. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Well, I spend each day battling the overlapping systems of discrimination that comes with each of my own identities. I grew up in Kingston, Jamaica, and while many of you know Jamaica as the beautiful vacation spot it is, others know it as the most unsafe place to be an LGBTQ person in the Western Hemisphere. I spent 16 years of my life in a country where people are killed for who they loved and how they express their gender. I grew up watching people like me be murdered by the dozen while the country stood by in silent complicity and vocal support. I didn't have the privilege of coming out. Just the perception by others that I was gay caused the level of physical assault that resulted in a lifetime of PTSD. The term intersectionality describes the way that different forms of discrimination overlap and work together to keep people from living and succeeding as their full and authentic selves. Think of it this way. Intersectionality describes how a person, like myself, can be deeply affected by their multiple marginalized identities. It describes the way that I must navigate the world differently, not just because I am queer, not because I am Black, not just because I'm an immigrant, but also because I live below the poverty line. People like me experience racism, homophobia, classism, and transphobia from the world at large. And make no mistake, there are millions of youth who are experiencing these intersections of discrimination every day. In 2013, just after turning 19, I founded QI. QI, the Queer Intersections Force, is a growing global intersectional force of LGBT youth. While working to create a better world for LGBTQ youth of color and immigrants, I was asked to serve as one of the Human Rights Campaign's youth ambassador. Today, I would like to tell you that I'm one of the lucky ones. I have a platform that allows me to make my voice heard. But too many youth like me are not so lucky. Today, on behalf of all the LGBTQ youth, I am here to say that our work is not yet done, and we're not even close to it. In this community, we're more than just LGBT. We're immigrants and people of color. We are poor and undocumented. We're people with disabilities and survivors of trauma. We are a whole host of other intersectional identities. Our movement must recognize all of us as whole people. It should never ask us to set aside part of our identity or privilege one part of our struggle over another. Because even with marriage equality, I still have a family that doesn't understand what it means to be trans. I still live in a country where my trans sisters are murdered in their own communities. I still live in a country where my black brothers and sisters are targeted by law enforcement and murdered by those who took an oath to protect them. I still live in a time where statistics say that I have a greater chance of being imprisoned than pursuing post-secondary schooling. The thing is, human beings are complex. None of us are one-dimensional. As you continue to work with these youth, think of all of their identities. Because, as you know, each person is different, and one size, not style, does not fit us all. One style does not fit us all either. Each person you work with may be struggling with forms of discrimination you probably don't identify or understand, based on their race, their gender expression, their immigration status, religion, HIV status, income level, and more. An intersectional approach to LGBTQ youth advocacy means taking young people like me, again, as whole people with numerous identities, and all of which needs to be validated and supported. We must become proactive. We must become innovative. We must become creative, and we must become edgy.